Hi, Michael.
Hi, Peter. Hi, everybody.
Are you okay?
Are you okay?
Good, good. Thank
Good,
you.
thank you.
Seems to have some reverb.
Hi, Peter. Matt here. No camera. Apologies.
No worries, Matt. Good to see you.
Yeah, you too.
We've got quite a few coming in today. We've got, well, there's 129 coming in via LinkedIn. We had 96 people booked in. So it's
Wow, well done.
Yeah, it's going to be quite busy. There's a lot to get through, to be fair. There's a lot changing at the moment, and ChatGPT is a bit of a game changer as well.
Yeah.
I assume the whole thing's just automated, though, and bot generated this seminar.
You'll never know.
Yeah, we haven't sorted the tech for that out yet, but they're getting close. We've been playing around with courses where even I'm sort of generated as well. Quite interesting. Yeah. The only thing with the voice, with the sort of doing those sorts of things, for some reason, even though it's my voice, because they've really cleverly captured my voice, you'd spend about an hour training it, but it's quite robotic. They've kind of the gap between the words is too short.
Is it so next time I call you, I can end up having a conversation with a Peter bot?
Absolutely. Probably more intelligent.
No comment.
Peter, you'll probably tell us more about GPT-4, which is way more intelligent than the chat, apparently.
It's very clever
Yeah.
Very, very clever. And there's a Chrome add-on that
Chrome from Southern Solicitors.
Sorry? Sorry, I missed that. We'll be muting everybody in a minute anyway. We'll just to give people a chance to come in. We are live streaming across YouTube and Facebook. And I will press record before I forget. Got a big sticky note in front of me.
Peter, when I joined, it said it was already recording, or would be. Maybe it said it would be.
You'd have said you'd have seen going live. It would help if I could find the record button. There you go. Right. Okay. There we go. That's the recording bit sorted.
Got it.
Right. I'm going to mute everybody and then we'll get going. Okay. Welcome everybody to the Vision to Success Digital Marketing Workshop. The Vision to Success, the future of marketing, including ChatGPT and AI. And I'll be presenting that today. These are free regular workshops that are designed to help you take your vision and help you realize it in a successful business. So the overall structure for the next hour will be a short introduction as to who we are and what Vision to Success is all about, an educational presentation, which I'll say will be on the future of marketing and AI. There'll be a chance to ask questions. My colleague Rachel will be keeping an eye on the chat, both on LinkedIn, Facebook, and YouTube, so that if you've got any questions, it doesn't matter where you are, please feel free to pop it into chat. I'll be keeping an eye on it, and then I'll build that into the presentation. And then if there's time at the end, although we have got a pretty full agenda today, there's a lot going on in marketing, and ChatGPT is a bit of a game changer, which hopefully you'll see when we get onto that section. Okay, quite a lot of you know who I am. So I've been doing this I've been a business and digital coach now for 20 plus years, worked with over 500 businesses. Been working with technologies since 1984, and 30,000 connections on LinkedIn. So I've kind of been around a bit. So why do we do this? This is quite an effort putting all this stuff on, getting everybody here and etc. Well, we want to help you guys compete in the digital world, an increasingly complex digital world. Help you build on your knowledge. There's a lot of things you can do. You don't need an expert to do everything. There's a lot you can do. Here to help you solve digital marketing problems. And we're talking very shortly about a community that we're building to help, again, provide support. We like to think we can help anybody. So that's free from and to those people who have got the money to pay. And we believe the future is collaboration. We're launching some really exciting stuff that will help marketing consultants. On our hub, we've got end users of marketing, people who are marketing specialists and consultants and suppliers, because believe in having a complete marketplace there. So what do we do? Well, we've got the free monthly workshops, which are these. We've got the community, which is the hub.vision2success.co. It's free. We've got a full course now on marketing strategy implementation, a solid 4 hours worth of content, and somebody who's just finished it. So it took him about a day and a half because there's actions at each stage. So it's a bit like having your own coach beside you. The app is very close to being launched, and then of course we can provide marketing support to help you grow your sales in whatever shape. So no matter what your budget, ambitions, or stage of growth, we can help. This is the hub. You're free to join. It's got the free workshops are advertised on there. We've got the paid courses, and we've got 7 free courses as well, which are here. And I've got some more ideas for courses to put onto here. So there's plenty to, and it's all content driven like today, so that you can do these at your leisure, and as I do with most things, there's always actions in there to for you to do so that as you learn, you do. We've got this full course. Normally it's £275. If you use the code growth 2023, it will cost you £96. That's 80 plus VAT. And it's about 4 hours worth of content, but as I say, feedback I've had so far, takes about a day and a half to do, because there's actions which you've got to do and go down and so on, and it's a bit like your online coach. Free offer, if anybody wants to chat about marketing, or we'll also doing a free introduction to the app. The app's going to be free for a while. We've not got the payment gateway set up on it, but because I'm keen to get it in front of as many people as possible to get feedback before we start paying for ads and things to drive traffic to it. Okay, we're going to look at the future of marketing. So we're going to cover social and technological change, impact on marketing, AI content creation tools, what Chat GPT is and how to use it. We've got some exercise. We won't be doing the exercise, obviously, in the presentation, but they'll be included in the slide deck so that you can go away and then have a practice. There is the free version. It works quite well. If you're prepared to pay $20 a month, which is buttons really, Chat GPT-4 is on another level. It is a better tool. And then we're going to have a quick scan through the Vision app, so that anybody who wants to have a one-to-one with me and go through it, then I'm happy to take you through it. Okay, social and technological change. Well, as I'm sure you all know, Teams and Zooms are now the norm for task-oriented meetings. There's still a very good place for face-to-face meetings, but I don't know of anybody now who's said, "Oh, let's have a Zoom meeting for an initial chat." Sorry, a one-to-one coffee as a chat. It's so much more efficient. A lot of online learning is done online through Zoom. It's just so much more efficient than putting people in a classroom. But there are times where we're running peer groups where it is better to meet face-to-face, and networking generally works better face-to-face, although there are exceptions to that. What it means is faster and efficient collaboration. We now work all around the world with people. We're not limited by geographic boundaries. Consumers are a lot more savvy. There's a lot more purchasing online, so people have learned how to deal with the technology, and which means that traditional forms of marketing are becoming less efficient and more expensive. What the sort of the downside of it almost is, if you like, is you have the ability to adapt faster, but that means changes faster. We've been launching a whole new service, and we'll tell a bit more about it with GPT-4. We've written about 15,000 words, all really good, better than I could have written. Normally it would have taken several months to write that, did it in a couple of days. Which means there's going to be more digital marketing noise, especially with AI, because people will use it with gay abandon, I would imagine, until the regulators kick in, because they're now talking about that on the news last night. And what it means is people have got a lot better at digital. And of course, hybrid working. Our team works all in a hybrid environment. We're looking at opening up a US office. You know, it would have been unthinkable pre-COVID, and now it's just another seat in another city. Consumer behavior is changing. 36% now buy online. People can do a lot more research. They're getting a lot better information, and reviews become critical if anybody's using has anybody got an e-commerce business. And Facebook groups, LinkedIn groups don't seem to work, but Facebook groups do work for getting help and support, and I use them all the time for quite technical stuff. So Facebook is making inroads into business to business. Smartphones, you know, I even hold it up here of sort of the generation above me, you know, the 80-year-olds. They're getting smartphones. They're struggling with them a bit, but they are starting to use them. Whereas a few years ago, pre-COVID, they go, no, I don't need to know that stuff. On-phone payments, you know, I went to the Cavern in Liverpool, and at the bar, I was still getting my credit card out. Oh my God, so old. Everybody else had phones, just tapping the phones on the bar. Absolutely remarkable. I'm probably the odd one out by a long shot. Getting more modern transport. I commute into Manchester once a week. It's got Wi-Fi, it's got phone points, charging points, etc. And when you look at when the ticket guy goes down, everybody's paying with the phone. Everybody's got the tickets on the phone. Very rarely do you see somebody go, "Oh, can I have a ticket, please?" Battery life is getting better. Cameras are getting better for improved quality. That means you can have more, you know, quick videos of things. We're doing a lot more now with reels and shorts for business. So that's TikTok and Instagram. TikTok is everything business consumer. We're going to talk about it in a minute. It can be used for business. Apps. Oh my God. My life runs on apps on a smartphone now. And but that means systems and data is becoming more complex. But it does mean, especially with the AI, things you can do things faster and better, and sometimes things that you couldn't do before. We're in a better connected world. So we work with clients all over Australia, India, US, and Canada at the moment. Spoken English as a second language is getting better. We've got clients who've got teams in India, and we work with those teams sometimes, and their English is very good. So although English is not, you know, there's about 1 billion speakers, I think, which is only about a fifth or so of the languages. as a second language is a lot higher. So that means you can use modern platforms like People Per Hour, Upwork, Fiverr, Freelancer. You don't have to think, oh, I haven't got a member of team to do that. Yes, you have. You've got a whole bunch of people around the world, all willing and good. There's some really good people out there. They've made it their lifestyles. I'm doing Duolingo at the moment. It's a fantastic, if you ever wanted to learn a language, which I have, it's a great tool for learning. I've learned more in the last 2 months than I have ever in learning a language. And you probably noticed that some of your international deliveries, if you're buying on Amazon, are coming straight from China. So it's got direct delivery from international deliverers. I was thinking of we're not going to have a discussion about the politics of change. But I did like this quote that Charlie, my daughter, found. Queen Elizabeth I, so a guy called William Lee, invented a knitting machine in 1589. And then the Queen banned it because of fear of losing jobs. He only then disappeared over to France and then began manufacturing over there and took the jobs away. You know, it's as old as that. And I'm sure if we go back further, there'll be other things in Roman times when Romans were introducing change, and the Britons were saying, "Oh no, it's worked over the way it is," and change comes along, and those who don't keep up just disappear. So yeah, I quite like that. And then obviously, everybody knows the Luddite story. And then there's we use this when we're doing enterprise education. Shift happens. And it's been updated. So it's just basically, we used to say, what you're being educated today, the jobs don't exist. And that's certainly going to be true with AI. Okay, impact on marketing. So that means more marketing, notice, lots more. As I said, in-person networking is back and seems to be the way forwards. There is I'm part of virtual non-execs, and they do a speed networking where you've got 5 minutes to do like 2 intros. It's really intense, really good. So you can make it work online, but it's a completely different animal to what you do face to face. Data's getting a lot more complex. If you haven't moved your Google Analytics to what's called GA4, then your data will stop giving you, Google Analytics will stop working for you. I think it's end of July. We've moved all our clients over, but the data in GA4 is a lot more complex. It's obviously better because they've completely rewritten system, but that means you've then got another learning curve. And then we're having to use a thing called Looker Studio. We have covered this in previous ones. Seminars, but that's how we now report on the data for clients. And the need to produce better content, writing, video, podcasts, all these sorts of things. It's not just the written word now. So consumers move seamlessly across channels. The youngsters, we end up communicating on WhatsApp, email, chat. Occasionally people ring us. Yeah, and you can have start a conversation on one medium and end up having it another. We're noticing an increase in budgets because of the noise. Better and more flexible planning, so you can't have a grand plan at the start of the year and hope to keep to it because it's going to change. But you do need a plan so that you know what you're going to change from to. But it takes and needs a more agile approach. And we have covered this. It is in the big course on agile working, and probably later this year or maybe next, we'll do a workshop on that. Search changes is changing due to voice search, but it was interesting. We needed a couple of plants. We're not very good gardeners, I'll admit to that. And we killed off a plant. So I went on to ChatGPT-4 and said, give me a list of plants that we're not going to be able to kill and like a shaded disposition in neutral soil. And it gave me a list of 6 plants, so 2-minute job, went round to the nursery, research, looked at each of the different plants on the list, went, yeah, we like that one, and took it. Job done. A couple of years later, we'll probably back to replace it, but it was far more efficient than, because we've got loads of gardening books, and that was my plan was to sit through that. So I'll just go on to chat onto AI. Google Shopping, Google have announced that you'll be able to buy directly from Google. So they don't want you to go to the website, they want to buy directly off Google. So if you're not using Google Shopping and you've not got your product listings and so forth as perfect as you can, then you're going to lose out if you're an e-commerce site. Google are looking to become the Amazon. Again, using tools, people to become a more mass customized personalization. The youngsters expect you to understand what they want and for you to present the right information to them. And that's going to be the next challenge over the next few years, is when somebody lands on a website, how do you personalize it to them, even though you don't particularly know them? And so some challenges there. Cookies will be disappearing, which will change, means a lot of technical change for marketeers. Don't have time to go into the details, but it is going to mean quite a bit of change the way things happen and work. When you're watching a video, you'll be able to buy directly from that video. And also, if you're into the shopping channels, this works especially in China. You'll have interactive e-commerce where it'll be you'll buy sort of during a live event, if you're into that kind of thing. And there's going to be an explosion of AI tools, absolute explosion. And so if you're a consultancy, you're looking at more audience community management. If you're selling services, you'll need to like we're doing workshops. We've got the hub. You'll see more things in things like Circle and so on, as people try to create communities around what they do, so that there's that constant engagement, if you like. This is more for selling professional services rather than e-commerce or anything like that at the moment. So like I said, interactive video, watch a video and then buy directly from it. So you're watching the video and go, oh yeah, I really like that, and click on it. I mean, you're going to see it on Instagram, where you straight into the purchase actually through the video. And then you've got the QVC type thing, which is quite big in China, apparently. I don't know how many of you watch TikTok and how many hours you've spent on it, but unless the US pull a plug on it, which I don't know, it is highly addictive. I've heard of people, I mean, I've lost half an hour on it. I've heard people losing several hours on it because it knows what you want, and the algorithms adapt actually whilst you're watching it. So if you start watching comedy, I seem to watch 70s, 80s comedy, it'll feed me more, even though maybe I've searched for something else. And everybody thinks, oh, well, maybe it's consumer. Well, I know a very reputable business coaching business who now does a daily stream onto TikTok. And I've noticed a few financial advisors doing the same thing. So this is for everyone. And if you've got the time and you can think of an approach, then have a go at it. It doesn't matter whether you sell to consumers or business. Key AI creation tools. So now we've been using AI for content development for some time now. It gets you over the blank page syndrome. And it means you also think through things, so that you think of all aspects of something you want to write about. We've not really tested it on specialist things like sort of pipe freezing or contracting and things like that, more specialist articles. But it's been great for sort of marketing, generalized articles, business, anything to do with business modeling, coaching, etc. So we've got ChatGPT, which is free, and you've got the pay for version that's say $20 a month. It's not really worth even thinking about, just do it. Bard, Google are a bit behind the curve with Bard. Now, ChatGPT is driven on the Microsoft Azure platform, and Microsoft are building it into their Bing. I got an email yesterday. This is how fast this stuff's changing. I got an email yesterday saying that Google will be providing search through Bard as part of the normal search. I did try to register, but it says that I wasn't allowed to at the moment, but no doubt at some point I was allowed to join the Bard program. We did compare Bard with Chat. I would say Chat, especially is streets ahead of Bard, but Google with its power and so forth and impetus, I'm sure they'll be working on it. But what it means is instead of sort of clicking on a number of search results, but with Chat, you can just get one result that's got all the information, it's collated it. Google want to be the knowledge engine of the world. OpenAI, fortunately, have got ahead of them, so there's at least competition, but they are backed by Microsoft. So we're still back with the two main players, Microsoft and Google. We've been using Chat, Jasper, probably going to drop it. Wordsmith, I couldn't find the pricing for that, but that's another popular one. And Quill, but again, no pricing. These are going to really struggle now, because as I say, our team now are using Chat as an aid. So the other tools, Descript is what we use for building the courses. Basically, I've created a sound booth. I sit in a sound booth. I record the voice. I am not a voiceover artist by any stretch. And when I make a mistake, I simply repeat the line. And then Descript will take out that first line when I say I want that taken out, and you'd never know. You'd absolutely never know. So even though I do have a stutter and I do trip over my words, it's fine. As long as I repeat it cleanly, that's it. And I may have to repeat it cleanly 3 or 4 times, because if anybody's done voiceover, sort of voiceovers, it's not as easy as it looks. You see these professionals, and we've employed artists, actors. There's one lady who's absolutely amazing. You can just give her the words, and within 2 takes, she's actually not only remembered it, she's actually doing all the sort of actions and pronouncing and emphasizing the words correctly. Absolutely amazing. We're using a page building tool called Elementor that's got AI built in. It's rubbish at the moment, but I'm sure that'll catch up. And then for doing presentations, so back to Matt's point earlier on, deckbird.ai is there. And then I've signed up to one for doing actual videos, so that in 2 years' time, it might not be me. It looks like me, but actually it'll be me, scripted me. Although I do like the live bit, so probably not. But certainly for the courses, if they can get the word intonation correct, it'll be a lot easier. I'll be able to build a lot more courses a lot faster. So for me, I'm unfortunately old enough to remember when a lot of technologies came out, like spreadsheets, word processors, email, computers. I worked on some of the first mainframes when I was at university. For me, this is a game changer. We're launching a bunch of stuff with Vision2Success. We're really going to start pushing the marketing support. We're really going to start pushing the app for marketing consultants to be able to do strategy and implementation document a lot faster. And within, I'd say, about a day and a half, I'd done 3 cornerstone articles, which are 2,500. So I wrote basically 10,000 words spread across 3 articles. Far better than I could have ever done. It would take months to research that information, and boom, it was there. And there is a difference between the free version and the paid for ChatGPT-4. 4 is a lot better. And so as an agency, certainly anybody who does a lot of content creation that's not particularly specific, industry sector specific, we've still got to try that. It was amazing, absolutely amazing. It was like I've been employed a member of staff for a month, because that's what it was taken to have done all the work that we did in that time frame. So yeah, hopefully you've heard it here, folks. So using it. So what is ChatGPT? Well, it's a huge large language model, basically a huge database of information and technologies to be able to extract that information extremely quickly. I mean, it's impressive the speed with which it pulls together quite complex thoughts. So it's designed by OpenAI. They had the 38-year-old CEO on the news last night, but it is backed by Microsoft. It's run. Microsoft must have thrown a lot of money at the technology to deliver the speed of this stuff. Health warning. Well, I said to ChatGPT, "Is there a health warning for you?" And so this is what it wrote. I'm not going to read it out. The data in the free version is up to September 2021. I would say the ChatGPT-4 is more up to date than that, and there will be holes. It is really clever though. You can train it. So I know I've heard of somebody who's training it to write in their style. So, for example, when I was writing the 2,500 word article, I said, "Give me the contents." You've got to be very precise, by the way, with this stuff. Rubbish in, rubbish out, as garbage in, garbage out, as they say. So I was quite specific. Write me an article on marketing support aimed at small and medium-sized business users, and give me the pain points, features, and benefits and features. Write the content list. So he gave me the content list. I said, write the introduction to the article. He wrote the introduction, and so forth. So he won't write the whole thing in one shot. I did try, but that was too much. And then said, write me a title. So it's remembered all that stuff, and then it presented it. So you do have to. It's not a magician. You've got to do something, and we're going to talk about prompts in a minute. Okay, so these are just some of the things I did have, like a big long list of all the things. But what I'm going to do is, in the autumn, we'll have a more detailed look at this stuff, because to be honest, we're all learning. But the reason why I included it in the future marketing is this is a game changer, big game changer, and I wanted to give you guys a heads up so that you could start playing with it. And then come the autumn, we'll have really hammered it, and we'll be able to give you more in-depth guides on how to use it. But certainly, I think the biggest thing is the blank sheet of paper problem, and then the second one is researching in depth. It will write email marketing funnels. So a funnel being, a series of articles or a landing page. The landing page I asked it to do was okay. We had to do quite a bit of work to tighten that up. We're going to talk about it in a minute, but there's a tool that you can change the tone of voice with it, which is important if you want it to write like you, but you can train it to do so. It does, like Google, you put something to Google, you're looking for a running shoe, and then you realize you actually want a mountain-based running shoe. Google won't remember that that's what you've just done. But if you do that same thing in ChatGPT, it will remember. And that's a bit of a game changer, because what you can actually do is build on things. You can build on the query and get more detailed and say, well, actually and the other thing you can get it to do is regenerate. Now, I tend to find the first shot is quite good, but people actually use it for writing code. So one of the things one of my clients did was that because they build websites for schools, which is a very specialized service, and the schools wanted to be able for the schools to be able to write AI written articles within his system. So he said, "What's the code?" And then he said, "Oh, how do you implement it?" And he then put, he then asked it, "How do I implement it?" Because he'd already remembered it had written the code. And then he gave it to the developer in Romania. And the guy went, "Oh yeah, I can do this." And within minutes, he'd uploaded it. There's another company did ask it to write some code. You've got to be very specific, but he'd written the code. And he thought, it's not quite good enough. So he hit regenerate and just see what happens. When he did the regenerate, it actually tidied it all up. So it was better code. So it does kind of learn. So if anything, so if you're doing a podcast, you think, and you've got a guest coming on, you think, oh, what am I going to ask them? Well, ask ChatGPT. It'll think of the questions for you. Same with storyboarding a video. It can be quite tricky. It can be quite time consuming, but we haven't done this bit yet, but you can do it for that. So it very much speeds things up that way. And then if you're doing anything to do with research, tell me more about. I mean, that's part of what I did with the Vision2Success stuff I've just done recently. So I'm learning Spanish at the moment. Still very much beginner. So I thought I'll just try typing in hablo español. And of course it comes back perfect. How can I help? Yes, I speak Spanish. How can I help? And then yes, I can. Let me work on some English and to Spanish. What do you want translating? And then I thought this is going to go south. Speak English, and you're straight into, yeah, sure thing. How can I help you? Amazing, absolutely amazing. So I don't know where, we've never translated the site yet, but one of the sites one of the things I do want to do is turn one into Spanish, because there's a lot of Spanish speakers out there and a lot of Spanish speakers in the US. But yeah, that was impressive. So here we said, write me a list of bullet points of what I need to cover in the presentation to introduce ChatGPT. So I was doing a presentation. I thought, well, I might as well get it to actually give me some bullet points and, do an introduction. What is it? Explain it, the benefits of it, the use cases, limitations, getting started, conclusions, and Q&A. What more do you want? It's obviously you've got some work to do on that. But yeah, it'll do a lot of the work for you. Okay, so one of the things I've been talking about is the sort of, you've got to, it's garbage in, garbage out. So you've got to ask it the right questions, and you've got to be prepared. It's not like Google search where you type in, road running shoes, and then you get a list of things, and then you as a human then click on the links and so on. If you want it to come out with some good stuff, you've got to type in quite a lot of things. But these are sort of prompt types that you can actually type in. How does something function? How does something work? So if you're doing some research or you're about to see a new client and with your particular service, and you don't really know much about what it is they do, type it in, ask ChatGPT, and say it's going to be a very clever search engine. Search is going to change a lot. It's probably not going to get away from, search won't change from looking for products to buy, where you're looking for a particular shop and things like that. But in terms of information, knowledge engine stuff, then certainly it will be. I'm not sure about, do you believe in it becoming more popular? You'd need to use the paid for version if you're going to ask that question, because otherwise the data only goes up, according to ChatGPT, it only goes up to September 2021. And I'd say you can ask it sort of, what's the average view? It will tell you stuff. It will come up with something. I prefer more specific things, like what are the steps to complete a specific process. And so like writing some code and things like that. You've got a very clear picture of what you're looking for. But it is interesting if you are doing research to ask it things that you're not too sure of. Comparative inquiries, this will probably only work if these products are known, but it might help with trying to decide whether to buy X or Y, but I would think they would need to be reasonably popular. But as of course, this thing's accelerating. So as it'd be interesting to put in your own products and services in here and see what happens. I do like the trend stuff. I didn't use it actually for the marketing research. Over the last 6 months, because I knew I was writing this thing, I'd sort of been looking at way things are being and trends and so on. But equally, I could have just jumped in and done that. Again, it asks for opinions. Not sure about that. We did. I thought I'd put do a analysis of you, or give me your opinion of such and such a website, and it's fairly generic and fairly bland. So I think that's a little bit way to go, but give it 12 months, give it 2 years, the speed this is going. Yeah, this is a feedback inquiry, and I tried this on our website, a few other websites which I knew were good and which were bad, and it didn't really pick up on too much stuff. It gave it a good go though, which was certainly impressive. One of the members of the staff came across this. So if you look at the normal ChatGPT interface, it has none of this stuff in the middle. But if you go to AI PRM, it will, as a Chrome addition, it will then provide prompts within here. I paid 97 quid to one of these things in Facebook for a bunch of prompts, which I put into a spreadsheet, a bit old school. But then last week we came across this, and basically it brings in all the prompts into you, and the paid one I'm sure is even better. This was a free version. But down here you can actually set the tone of voice. So I don't know whether you're familiar with Grammarly, but Grammarly will sort of read an article, and if you say what the tone of voice is you're expecting, it will then go through and do that for you. Whereas this actually will do it within ChatGPT. So a few ticks and tricks, active reviewer, professional detective, make chat write like you, prompt, analyze the writing style and adopt it. So you write an article, you put it in, so you can train it. And this is what this guy's doing. You can ask for paragraph or essay style answers, or you can ask for bullet pointed. You can say, but you've got to be specific. You've got to say, give me the bullet points for this, or write me a cornerstone article. I put in the word guide, write me a guide, because we were doing like a downloadable PDF on something. And I say, could you write me a guide? And it was different. So that it does understand guide, article, bullet points, or step-by-step instructions. It does understand these things. So that's why I say you do have to be specific. So this is our process. So generate ideas for the content. So it gets over the blank paper, then generate the headline, calls to action. So these are specific, but don't forget it's learning. It understands what you've already asked it. Ask questions how to create. Then you need to check for inaccuracies and possibly regenerate with different questions. So don't take the first answer if you don't quite sure about it. Either click regenerate or rephrase your question. Then run through Grammarly, and then you can also check it for plagiarism, because don't forget other people are asking it the same thing, whether it's produced the same material. So you can, down here in Grammarly, So we always put through the articles. Interesting, when I put Jasper written articles through, I'm always having to work with Grammarly to change it. With ChatGPT-4, I have to do very little work to make it for Grammarly to be happy with it. It's not perfect, and there are issues. Copyscape is another way of checking for plagiarism as well. So limitations. I think for writing technical articles is great, or sort of educational articles, because it kind of writes in the way I normally write, to be honest. But a creative writer, one who can really make the words jump off the page, it can't beat those yet. I'm no doubt trying. One chap I know tried to get it to create some music, but it didn't recognize harmonics. So there's sort of there's some time to go, but with so many people using it and so many people training it, it's going to grow quite quickly. Think of it as a 2-year-old, but it's going to be a teenager quite soon. So God help us then. I believe you need to rework through Grammarly, although I say ChatGPT-4 doesn't seem to need that as much. There's a limitation on the free one. It's claimed not great for writing articles on search engine optimization. I'm testing it. We've written now 5 cornerstone articles, 2,500 word articles. We'll be interested to see what Google makes of that. There's a lack of emotional intelligence at the moment, and so if you're writing some poetry, something where you want some words that really jump off the page, and sort of nice fiction, maybe that's got some time. But if you train it on the way you write, then that maybe you may be able to overcome that. It is dependent on the training data, so maybe inaccurate. And don't forget, there are lots of people putting in inaccurate data into this thing as well. So it'll be interesting to see how it deals with that. It can't really handle sarcasm, irony, and humour, but and say some things it'll have limited domain knowledge. But we will be testing it. And that's in the autumn sometime. We'll be running another workshop. This has come from Neil Patel, great guy, top digital marketer in the world. If you're not following him and you're into marketing, digital marketing, you need to follow him. He reckons 15% is not, when he did the research, is not optimized for SEO. I would kind of argue slightly differently to that, but we have got the experiment running, so we'll find out. Providing inaccurate information. As I say, if you don't ask it the right question, you won't get the right answers. The content, you can tell. It uses, Grammarly picks up a phrase where it's a dangling modifier. I'm not a linguist, so linguists amongst you will know what that means. But it constantly puts these dangling modifiers in, and you have to, I live with it now. I did start rewriting it. I thought, I'll give up on that because they're quite long articles, but you do have to watch for that. And that's basically how I suspect Google will be able to tell whether it's AI written or not. But if the structure's right and the information's correct, because Google can check, then I think it's going to be all right, but we'll find out. There's maybe some legal stuff. So again, you must check it with a human. Don't just create it and then stick it up. Do spend some time, but it saves you a lot of time. So it's worth it. And possibly like a personalization. And also, when I ran a chat GPT course last week, and one of the people who's really into using it already said that the references weren't great. So if you're relying on if it includes any references to things, then check them, because she did say that was not right. So a few things there. I'm going to leave. So basically, as you know, you get this deck will become downloadable and also emailed out to you. So these are the sort of exercises that I've put in there. This is for this class. I've left them in this deck. I'm not going to go through them, but they're there for you to have a play. As you can see, they're quite long lists of quite long prompts. And then if you don't want the, so these are for emails, and these are for websites. If you want a set of free prompts, this is Descript, which we use for the AI video editing tool, but they've put 100 up there as well. And then, of course, there's now the AI PRM Chrome edition as well. You know, there's plenty of things there to ideas so you can prompt. It is worth spending some time on how you ask the questions. Very important. It's not like Google where you say, please write me an article on business coaching or whatever. That'll get you nowhere. You do need to be a lot more specific as to what content you want writing. I mean, you'll write something, but whether it's what you want, that's a different matter. So we'll just quickly look at the questions. Michael, thank you for this. Wikipedia is a good source of reliable factual information. Truth can be an early casualty of ChatGPT. I don't know whether it compares with Wikipedia, but of course, when you've written the article and it has got references in it and things, you could go to Wikipedia. Wikipedia is not perfect, but it's certainly very good. So yeah, it is important that you do check what you've written and that you agree with it. If you don't agree with it, then rewrite it. So the other game changer is so a question that's come in from LinkedIn. How do you address the use of AI in education? Well, this is a great one. Now, there is a package which is not available to students, which actually does plagiarism checks, because it would be possible for some subjects, I'm sure, to write all your assignments with AI. Now, AI has not got to the point where it's not detectable. So there's this tool, I can't remember the name of it, but it's only for colleges and educators, so that it can be used to check student assignments. It's not available to students, and that you would need to use that, absolutely. There are already tools out there for checking plagiarism, and say it's in Grammarly, but there are specific educational tools for doing that. And any college would need to have that in their toolkit for making sure that students didn't cheat. Yeah. Okay, so as a game changer, we've developed an app. Because of one of the problems is digital marketing, especially, has become a lot more complex. You need to know the conversions. You know, if you spend £1,000 on Google ads, what will that result in? How many sales can you expect, etc. So we put together an app. It's a Chrome-based app. It's not it doesn't sit on your mobile. It sits on your desktop, on your Chrome. We've made it pretty low cost. We're in the launch process, so it's free at the moment for anybody. I'll happily do a one-to-one with anybody who wants me to take it through it. It supports strategy development. It uses quite a lot of the key frameworks that you should be using as when you're looking at your strategy. Helps you therefore manage risk. It forces you to really think about your buyer persona. So this workshop I ran on last Tuesday. Their homework had been to do their buyer personas. Only 3 people put their hands up. So guys, you know, I know my bit's not on buyer persona, but you really need to do that homework. So this forces you then to do the buyer persona, so you know you're not selling to everyone. And if you think you are, then you're wasting money, you're wasting your time. You need to focus on who your ideal client is. It captures your pain points, helps you identify the key differentiators. And then what a lot of problem people have. So somebody came to me after the workshop and said, everybody's telling me what I should do. So what we've got is marketing templates for specific business types, where we tell you what you could do, and then what you should do is you can work that out from there. So it's got marketing recipes, so you can click on a button, you can choose the sort of thing. Yes, I'm a business to business, I sell nationally, and it will give you what we would suggest you look at. These are things you could do. And then because it's all got budgets in it, you can then iterate down to what you can afford, and you can obviously work on the things that are important. And then we show you a graph of sales revenue, of cash flow. And I say, you iterate to a plan or budget that works for you. Because we've been doing that manually with spreadsheets and reports and things like that. I thought, well, this is crazy. Everybody else must be doing this. So, and I know, people, marketing, creative marketing people do struggle with financial numbers. I'm lucky that I work with a very creative team. And so I can be the process, the finance, the sort of coach type person. And I kind of love this stuff. But the thing is, you can change those numbers to suit you, and you can iterate to what you need it to be. So this is the app. It's got your company details in here. There's a whole bunch. There's frameworks like the STEEP analysis, political, social, political, technological factors, the SWOT analysis, the sort of competitor and the sort of stakeholder analysis, if you like. Then there's the product itself. Then you click on there, there's a budget. And then once you've been through the process, you can then enter an exec summary, and it will then produce either a Word document or a PDF. This is a buyer persona. So you can either be business or consumers. So you put in the title. And this is a bit people tend to skip, which is so important when you're developing websites, videos, podcasts, etc. Is, what is it they're trying to do? And we have been through this in previous workshops, and no doubt we'll probably do it again. We'll be launching all this properly in September, when it's been out with a few people and been tried and tested. This is the marketing recipes I mentioned about. I've gone through, and if somebody came to me and said, right, I'm a foundation business, I don't want too many shiny bits in my process, and I'm selling nationally to businesses, what sort of things should I be doing? Click of a button, you've got it. Okay. And as we work with more companies, then we will build on this, because it takes about 5 minutes for me to develop another one, and we've already got other people going, well, we need one on this. So, well, you tell me what it is you're trying to achieve, and I'll build you one of these lists. And then you click a button, and then that adds it to the system. If you would like a walkthrough, personal one-to-one walkthrough, then please stick it in, use my link to my diary. So it's calendly.com, Peter Dickinson /30 minutes. And then it's not a pitch, it's just, we need people to really kick the tires on this app before we let it loose in September on the wide world. There are a few glitches in at the moment, so I need to just walk you through those. But it is a really useful tool, and it's useful for now. We've already used it with clients, and we're now starting to push out the next stage of it. And so again, at the end of the slide deck, like I do on my courses, what are the things, what is your marketing strategy going to be? How are you going to change to adapt to the changes that I mentioned at the start? How are you going to use ChatGPT? Is it something that's relevant to your business? It is a game changer. It's like the spreadsheet or the word processor when they were introduced. They were a bit crude at the start, but soon got a lot better. AI is going to be like that. It'll be interesting to see what regulations come in to manage it, because it will need regulating. There's no doubt about it. Otherwise, we'll developed. I mean, we've all sort of seen the sci-fi movies. iRobot is a good example, if you like. So we don't really want that. So it's how this can be contained, but it's here to stay, and it's growing rapidly. And yeah, So we've come to the end. If there's any, there's no more questions within the in the chat. Has anybody else got any questions they'd like to ask? Either ask it through chat or ask it, via the screen. Nope. Okay. I shall bring the meeting to a close then. Very, very many thanks to everyone attending the webinar. I hope you found it useful. The recordings and transcript will be put on the website in the next day or so, and a link sent out to everyone who's registered. I'm really looking forward to next month's presentation, which is in a month's time on June the 28th, slightly later. Amrita Govinji-Bruce, founder and managing director of Norrie HR and Employment Law, will be doing a presentation on how to create the greatest team to control your marketing. We work with Jason and Amrita for some time now. They look after all our HR. They've kept us on track. HR is definitely not one of my strong points, but they've kept us legal. We use Breathe HR to keep us on the system. But it's also about how you recruit people, how you onboard people, how you retain people, how you manage your culture. And Amrita's going to shed some light on those things so that, so you can have the best marketing team, because people, whether are fundamental to growing your business, and getting the right people on the right seats is very important. So to find out more, book onto the event and go to the event section on Vision2Success.co. And I look forward to seeing you in a month's time. Thanks very much. Thank you.